Chapter 2, An Attic Secret. "I know how to run a car," Joey bragged as the station wagon began to move. When it gained speed, though, he became frightened and tried to pull the brake on. The car slowed a bit, but it still rolled. Joey jumped out. So did Holly. But the station wagon continued to run away. "Help! Help!" Holly shouted. Pete heard his sister and saw at a glance what was happening. He raced toward the moving car. Luckily, the station wagon's tailboard had been left down. This was his only chance. Pete grabbed it as the car rolled by. Quickly, he scrambled over the seats and seized the steering wheel. The car just missed a big tree. Then Pete pulled on the brake and the runaway car skidded to a stop. "What happened, Holly?" Pete asked as his sister ran up. She told him what Joey Brill had done, just as Mr. Hollister and the other children raced up. Pete was very angry. "Wait till I get Joey," he said, and went off to find him. "Looking for something?" the camp owner asked as he saw Pete searching. When Pete said he was hunting for Joey, the man replied, "Joey and his parents drove away a few minutes ago." The man said Joey had come running up, begging his parents to leave at once because he felt sick. The owner was glad because Joey had been getting into all kinds of mischief since they had come there. The Hollisters went to bed early that night and rose at sunup next morning to continue their trip. During the afternoon, the children grew tired of looking at the scenery and playing all of the games, which could be played in a car. "There's a new game in that small suitcase of mine," said their father. "Maybe you children would like to try it. Get it out, Pete." Mr. Hollister had invented many gadgets and also many toys and games. He always asked his children to try them out before he put them in stores. "I don't see a small bag, Dad," Peter called. Ricky suddenly sat up very straight. A frightened look came over his face. "Daddy," he said, "I put that bag in the little van with our toys. I didn't know you wanted it to go with us." Mr. Hollister was so amazed he stopped the car. "You what?" Ricky became frightened. "The mover asked me if it was to go in the little van, and I said yes. But, Daddy, I told him to take extra good care of the bag 'cause it had your inventions in it." Mr. Hollister started the car. "Well," he sighed, "I suppose everything will be all right, but I would certainly hate to lose that bag." Presently, Pete spied a signpost, 30 miles to Shoreham. "We're practically there," he shouted. The children were almost too excited to wait. What did their new home look like? How exciting to be on the shore of a lake. "What's the name of the lake?" Pam asked. "Pine Lake," their father replied. "It's a big one, too. It has an island in the middle called Blackberry Island." The sun had set by the time the Hollisters arrived in Shoreham. How attractive the homes looked. "Is this our street, Daddy?" asked Sue. "You guessed it," replied her father. "This is our street, Shoreham Road. Our number is 124. "And there's our house," shouted Pam. "I know it from the picture the real estate man sent." Nestled far back from the road was the Hollisters' new home. It was a large 3-story house. Big lawns stretched away on each side. The lake touched the property in the rear. Mr. Hollister turned into the pebbly driveway and stopped. "Here we are, children," he said. "Pile out." The doors of the station wagon were flung open. "Our furniture has arrived," said Mrs. Hollister, seeing a table through a window. The children's father went up to the front door, with the children trooping behind him. "Look," said Holly. "There's a note pinned on the door." Her father read the note aloud. It had been written by George, the driver of the big van, and it said, "It is now 6 p.m. The small van has not arrived, and the company doesn't know where it is. We have been here since morning and can't wait any longer." "Does this mean all our toys are lost?" Holly asked fearfully. "And your bag with the new invention in it," Pam spoke up. "I'll go to the police and report this," Mr. Hollister said. "Maybe they've heard something about the missing van by this time." As soon as he unlocked the door and looked around the house, he drove off. In the meantime, the children hurried from room to room. "I love it!" Holly cried enthusiastically. "So do I!" Pam echoed. The children made their beds, arranged their clothes in the bureau drawers, and hung up their suits and dresses in the closets. Pete and Pam were the speediest. When they finished, they hurried outdoors to look around. As Holly completed making her bed, she suddenly straightened up. She had heard a strange creaking sound above her. She hurried into the boys' room. "Listen, Ricky, what's that upstairs?" Her brother listened. The sound was very faint now. "I don't know. Somebody's in the attic. Maybe it's a mouse. Let's go up and see." But Holly thought they should tell their mother, so the children went downstairs to find her. Meanwhile, Pete and Pam had circled the house and now stood looking at it. Suddenly, Pam gasped and pointed to an attic window. "Pete, do you see what I see?" In the dusk, she had seen what appeared to be a face. The next moment it disappeared. "It looked like a man," Pam quavered. "But how could it be?" Pete argued. "I guess it couldn't be," Pam agreed. "It might be a dummy or a false face somebody left up there." "I'll find out," Pete offered. "I'm going with you," Pam said, and dashed into the house after him and up the stairs. Pete opened the door to the attic and clicked the light button, but the light did not go on. "It's sure dark up there," he said. "I'd better get a flashlight." He hurried to his bedroom and took his flashlight from his dresser. Returning to the dark stairway, he focused its beam upward. "I'll go first," he told Pam. Pete tiptoed slowly up the stairs with his sister directly behind him. When they reached a landing, they stopped to listen. There was not a sound. Pete went up a few more steps until his head was level with the attic floor. He beamed the light around. "Maybe somebody was up here," Pam said in a whisper. The children went up the remaining steps and stood listening. "It's so spooky up here," Pam said, brushing a cobweb from her face. "I wonder why the light didn't go on," Pete said. He directed his flash around to find the fixture. "Oh, I see. There's no bulb in it." "I'll get one," Pam offered, glad to leave the attic for a minute. She hurried down to the second floor and took a bulb from the socket in the hall, then returned and screwed it into the fixture. The attic was flooded with light. "Now we can really explore," Pete said. He opened a closet that he had not noticed before. The door to it squeaked and groaned. The closet was empty. Next, the boy walked over to the window where Pam had thought she had seen a face. "Wow!" Pete exclaimed. "Look at this!" and pointed to the sill. There were finger marks in the dust. "Somebody was here," Pam said. "But where did he go?" Pete shrugged. "Let's look around." He lifted the sash and peered out, but there was no roof beneath the window on which anyone could step. Meanwhile, Pam had found another window. It was open a few inches. "Maybe the man went out this way," she suggested, and raised herself up to look out. But, like the other window, there was nothing outside to stand on. As Pam pulled her head in, she noticed something on the floor. The remains of a half-burned match. "Pete," said his sister, picking up the match, "maybe the man we saw at the window dropped this." Their curiosity thoroughly aroused, the two children searched every inch of the attic floor for further clues. A small rug lay near the spot where the brick chimney came up through the floor. Pete tugged at one end of the rug. It did not move. "It's tacked down," Pam said. "Maybe something's underneath it." The boy flashed his light carefully around the edge of the rug. Then he exclaimed, "Pam, it hides a trap door." "How does it open? There's no handle or anything." "Not even a hinge," Pete sighed. Then he had an idea. Stepping onto one end of the rug, he saw the door give way a little. "This is it," Pete shouted. "A trap door on springs." Pete opened it quickly and flashed his light below. A narrow flight of steps led downward. "Secret stairway!" Pete gasped. "Our new house has a secret stairway." "How wonderful!" Pam cried. Then suddenly she remembered the face in the window. This may be the way the man left. "I wonder where the stairs go," said Pete. "I'm going to find out." "Do you think we should go down alone?" Pam asked. "He might still be around." Either Pete did not hear her, or else he did not want to wait, for he had already started down, shining his flashlight ahead of him. Pam followed. Steps, steps, steps. They seemed to go past the second floor, then down past the first floor. Somewhere between the walls, the children could dimly hear voices. They must be coming from the kitchen. Down, down, down the children went. Finally, Pete came to a tiny door and pushed. It swung open, and he looked ahead. "Where are we?" Pam asked. "I don't know," Pete answered. "But follow me."